So once again, welcome grade 12s to the session. Today we'll be doing urban settlements, which is the second type of settlement that we have. Remember guys, we already did at the rural settlement. The rural settlement, remember, we were focusing on the rural areas. We're focusing on the rural urban or the rural settlement patterns. We focused also on the shapes as well as all of that. So now when we come to urban settlements, we already know that urban settlements are basically those towns or those cities whereby we have got a multifunctional activities. Okay, basically we say that urban settlements, they are multifunctional because we tend to find a variety of activities there. Unlike in the rural settlements, remember we said that in the rural settlements we only have got primary economic activities such as farming and fishing. But now when it comes to urban settlements, there are other secondary and tertiary activities that are taking place. So remember guys, the secondary economic activities, those are the economic activities that are associated with the manufacturing of goods. So these ones are associated with the manufacturing of goods. Okay, for example, in urban settlements, you are most likely to find a company that is manufacturing maybe some tinned beans or some tinned fish or anything like that. So basically, in urban areas, we've got secondary economic activities. And when we're talking about the tertiary economic activities, we are talking about activities such as services. Usually, we are talking about services here. Services, whenever we talk about services, you can talk about the hair salon, for example. You can find a hair salon or a barber, or you can find someone offering a certain service in an urban area. But in a rural area, we don't find all of that. So urban settlements have got they're actually multifunctional. They've got multiple economic activities. So more people are living in the urban areas. Basically, more people continue to live in the urban areas because we already talked and said that compared to the rural areas, urban areas have got better job opportunities, better housing, and all of those advantages that make the standard of living in urban areas to be better compared to that one of rural areas. So when you talk about the population of the people that are found inside the urban areas, it is large and it continues to grow each and every time because most people are moving away from rural areas and they are coming to the urban areas. So already the urban areas have got more people in them. Already the urban areas have got bigger populations. All right. And those populations, they keep on growing large. They keep on becoming more complex because more people move from rural areas and all of those isolated rural areas. And then now they all move to the urban areas so that they can find better opportunities, so that they can find better education. For example, if someone living in a rural area grows up and then they finish high school, they probably want to go to a varsity and there's no varsity in the rural areas. So basically, they would have to move to an urban area. So basically, they would have to move to an urban area. So basically, whose mic is whose mic? Okay, right. Okay, so as I was saying, guys, that if someone is if a learner that is in high school, for example, just finishes their grade 12 studies and they now need to continue and find a tertiary institution, maybe a university. There are no universities in rural areas, so probably they're gonna resort to going to an urban area. So basically, the population of urban areas keeps on becoming bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So now we need to know the reasons for the location of urban settlements. Okay, we need to know what actually causes a certain urban settlements to be wherever they are. All right, we're also going to give examples as well. Okay, so let's talk about the site of an urban settlement. Remember, guys, already explained whenever we're talking about the site is basically the exact ground, or this is the exact place where a settlement is built. Okay, it is the exact ground or it is the exact place where a settlement is built. So even in the urban settlements, there are certain things or there are certain features that we need to look for in a place for us to even start building on it. Okay, you know that these urban areas that we have right now, such as Johannesburg, urban areas such as Pretoria, urban areas such as Durban or Cape Town, all of them, they did not exist before. right? But why did the people who chose to settle in the urban areas, why did they even choose to settle there? It is because basically there are certain features that were found in the site, okay, that were found in the site where they built the urban areas. That is why some of the places they remain as rural areas, some of them they are urban areas. It is basically because of the type of place, the factors that are found in the place. So, what are those factors that we're supposed to consider when it comes to choosing the site for an urban settlement? Okay. First of all, the availability of water. This one is obvious. Basically, we need a place that has got some water because basically you cannot just say you are going to a rural to an urban area and then there's no water. So for you to even build an urban settlement or for you to even settle in such an area, you need the area or you need the site or the actual place to have water, to have a water source. Okay. So basically, this one is essential, but sometimes it's not really that much essential because these days, technology is growing and people are developing strategies to pipe the water or strategies to transport the water across longer distances. Let's just say, for example, you are staying in Johannesburg and we assume that there's a drought and there's no water. Basically, they've got these days geotechnology. Yeah, we can be able to just transport the water. So the availability of the water, yes, it is also a factor to consider. But these days, it's no longer that much relevant because basically we can be able to pipe some water or we can be able to transport some water using pipes across longer distances or from longer distances as well. Okay, so this one is, yes, it is a factor that is affecting the site, but it is not that much relevant. All right, it's not that much relevant. Even when you're answering questions based on the site of an urban settlement, try to not mention it, the availability of water, because basically in urban areas, we can be able to just transport the water using pipes from longer distances, right? But now, what is most important in this case? It is the soil that is found in that area. So basically, if the site has got a soil, basically the soil that we want, there is a certain type of soil that we want to be able to build an urban settlement in that site. All right. So basically, people will prefer to build on the soil which allows water to drain through it. Okay, so people prefers to do what? To build on the soil which allows what? Which allows the water to drain through the soil. Basically, you already know, guys, that we've got different types of soils. Okay, and some of the soil is not able to absorb water in the right manner. For example, if you look at clay, clay is not easy to absorb water. Clay, whenever you're talking about clay, you are really talking about like clay. There is a type of soil. So that type of soil, it does not absorb water easily. It means that even when it rains, the water does not infiltrate into the soil. Number, the water does not sink into the soil. All right. So we cannot be able to build a settlements or to make buildings on an area that has got clay because basically clay cannot be able to absorb water. But if you go to a place that has got sand, if you go to a place that has got sand, that type of soil, it is good because basically when it rains or maybe whenever water lands on that place, that water will just infiltrate and it will go down. Okay, it will infiltrate and it will go to be groundwater, as you guys already know. But basically, if you go to an area that is having a lot of clay, you cannot be able to build an urban settlement there because basically you already know, guys, that the clay is not you cannot be able to even dig a foundation and build a house in such a place. You need to go and find a place that has got soil that is what? That allows water to drain through it. Soil that allows water to infiltrate through it. So one of the factors to consider, this one is very important, all right, this type of soil, because basically it is very difficult to build on clay because basically the clay does not allow water to pass through. Clay just lets water stay on top of it. That is why clay is always mud. Whenever you go to find the clay, the type of soil known as clay, I'm sure you guys know it, clay, the clay. Clay is just the type of soil that does not absorb water easily. Even plants cannot grow on clay. plants can only grow on sand, or they can grow on the soil that allows water to infiltrate, but they cannot be able to grow on clay. Even building makes it difficult. This clay actually makes construction and building difficult as well. Are we still together, Christoph?
Yes, sir.
All right. So now, after looking at the soil, what else can we look for in a place before we start building the urban settlement? It is the rock structure, okay? The structure of the rock. Remember, guys, that basically the ground that we are living on, it is made up of the rock and the soil. That is why in point number 2, we talked about the soil that we want to have so that you can be able to build. But basically, the rock structure, it is also important as well. Remember, guys, when you learned in grade 10, the rocks are able to break apart, okay? Rocks are able to break, rocks are able to fold, rocks are able to do many things, okay? These things actually cause earthquakes and all of that, because basically, some of the rocks, you guys already know that from grade 10, even when we explain the theory of plate tectonics, we say that the ground can be able to just split, okay? The rocks can be able to just split, or the rocks can be able to break due to tectonic forces. That is something that happens. So basically, even if you are living on the ground that you are living on, it can be able to just break apart, okay, due to the rock structure. So there are certain places that have got a risk of breaking. Okay, there are certain places that have got these things known as a fault lines. We call them what? We call them fault lines. So when you go to a place that has got fault lines, a fault line is basically going to be a place whereby the rock can be able to break apart. You guys already know the term of faulting, right? In grade 10, when you learned that the rocks can be able to just break apart due to what? Due to tectonic forces. So the ground can just split. If you didn't know that is possible, in fact, right now the ground is splitting in such a way that you can predict it even after 1,000,000 years, Africa will no longer be the same. The ground has splitted because of the rocks that is faulting there, or the rocks that is breaking apart. So there are certain places that have got fault lines, even in South Africa, especially in the coastal regions. We have got certain places that have got these fault lines, which have got a risk of breaking apart each and every time. Those are the places where earthquakes attack the most. So you cannot be able to build in such a place, because you are going to make buildings and make a good urban area in that area, and then an earthquake comes easily and it attacks the place. Most of the times whenever earthquakes come, they come to certain rural areas, or they come to certain places frequently, over and over again. It is because those places have got fault lines. They've got also sinkholes as well. Okay, they also have got sinkholes. So there are other places where the rock, it is not that strong. Even if you try to build on top of it, it's just going to sink. All right. So we need to avoid such lines. And geography allows us to identify those places and avoid building urban areas from them. So we cannot be able to build on a place even that has got volcanoes. This is another factor. A place that has got volcanoes, guys. How can you build in a place whereby a volcano erupts each and every time? Okay, all of those places, they are not desirable. So we look for the rock structure that is suitable, or we look for the sites that are far from what? That are far from volcanoes, far from the fault lines, far from the sinkholes. If we find such places that have got a good rock structure that is so solid, that does not break apart, okay, that does not even have volcanoes or anything erupting from it, we can be able to build an urban area in such a place. So the rock structure plays a very significant role. That is why some places are rural areas, some of them are urban areas. Because you'll be asking yourself, well, hi man, why is my village a rural area? Why didn't the people just come and build companies in my village? It is not always because maybe they did not want to. No, sometimes the environment, the physical environment, it does not allow. The site does not allow an easy construction of this urban settlement. And also, we can also look at the relief as well, or the topography of the land. So remember, whenever we're talking about the relief, we're talking about the topography of the land, whether the land has got a steep slope or the land has got a gentler slope. Right? Basically, if you go to a place that is mountainous or a place that has got a steep slope, such places are not easy to build urban areas at. You cannot be able to build urban settlements in a place that is steep, all right, a place that is mountainous. That is why the mountains are found in the villages alone, all right. Building urban areas or building urban settlements or building all of those advanced roads and all of that construction, it is very difficult to do that on a steeper gradient. In a place, actually, steeper gradient, when you say that the place is got it is mountainous or a place has got a steeper gradient, it simply means that there are a lot of mountains and the gradient it is not gentle. Let's just say you go to a place like this and when you want to build an urban area, it will be a bit difficult. It will be very difficult, in fact, to build an urban area. In fact, it will be expensive to do that because basically whenever you are constructing a settlement, whenever you are making some building, whenever you are building some buildings, you need a place that is gentle. But in a place that is steep, you need to dig a lot, you need to do this, and your buildings can even fall down. All of those things is quite a lot, and the building costs, they keep on becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. So it is important for you to look at the gradient, for you to look at the relief. We say it's known as the relief, or you can say it is the topography of the area. So you go and look at the build of the area, or you can say the relief of the area. If the area is gentle enough, or if the land is flat, you can be able to make some buildings on it. Okay. If the land is flat, you can be able to build some buildings on it because the land is flat, the buildings will be just as stable and there won't be any problems. And it will be way more cheaper to do that. So basically the sites that have got a gentle gradient, they are the most preferable. That is why you hardly find urban areas that are having mountains, all right? Even if you go to Cape Town, you'll see that the Table Mountain, there's no area, there's no urban area that is built on top of it. But basically the urban area is on the flat land or on the mountain valley. So basically we need a land or we need a site that is called a gentle gradient, or the relief of the site must be gentle. Or you can say that the topography of the site must have a gentle gradient. Because basically the relief, we're talking about how the place is in terms of its gradient. Is it slopey? Is it steep? Or is it gentle? If it's a gentle gradient, it's a flat land. We can be able to build on a flat land. Just like, for example, if you go to a flat plain of a river, a flat plain of a river, it is flat and it is wide. So you can be able to build settlements on it. But you cannot be able to go and build on top of a mountain. You will need a lot of money to carve the mountain and make those urban areas. All right. So we need to choose a site that has got a gentler gradient. And then also when we look at the transport as well, the transport and trade is one of the factors that we need to look at. So whenever you want to develop an urban area, you need to make sure that the place has got at least a way to build a road, okay? Or you can just say a way, okay, let's just say a way to build a road, okay? Because we need basically to be able to transport things whenever we trade with other companies. In urban areas, there are a lot of secondary and tertiary economic activities. So we need a place whereby you can be able to build a road, all right? A place where you can be able to build a road, or a place that has got a river, okay? Because basically you can be able to transport things via some boats through the river as well, okay? So we need such places. Development basically occurs usually at a river crossing. This is just one of the examples that the textbook is giving. But basically, we need to look for a place that has got what? That has got access, okay? Maybe a place whereby we can have a main road. A place that has got a main road, it is very easy to develop it because it is easy to transport some goods and services, or transport some goods whenever we want to trade with other people. Okay. And one of the other things that we can look at is also the human factors or the historic factors. What are the historic factors that can affect this whole thing? Basically, each and every area has got its own politics. Okay, each and every area has got its own politics. Politics is just simply the historical, or you can say the cultural or the social value that are found within people. For example, here in South Africa, we already know that the history of South Africa goes all the way from apartheid and all of that. So basically, the way our culture is will be different from another land, maybe another country that is having a different history, a different culture. So you need to look at the society, the human factors here. We're talking about the society that you are going to live in. So if you want to build an urban area or an urban settlement, if you want to build an urban settlement, you need to consider the historical, the cultural, or the social value, okay, of that particular area. So you cannot okay, sometimes race also plays a role. Okay, if you go to a place, let's just say you go to a place whereby they they've got only one race. Let's just say it is black people alone. All right, only one race. And maybe those people, we already know that no man, these people are racist, or maybe these people are racist. These people, they don't want to live with other people from different races. The moment when you want to build an urban settlement, you want to stay away from that place. You want to stay away from that place. It's just a crazy example, but it's realistic, because basically there are certain places that have got certain restriction or certain conditions based on the beliefs, based on the history of the people, based on the culture of the people. Some things are not acceptable in some places. You know, even LGBTQ rights, for example, the rise to be any sexuality. Some of the societies or some of the humans, they do not accept all of that. So if you want to build a settlement, you might want to avoid going to such a place. So it's one of the factors. This one is a very, 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 very serious factor, because you cannot go to a place where you are not accepted, all right, or you cannot go to a place where you are not going to be treated with respect, or where you're not going to be given a right to live in such a place. So basically, you look at the historical, the cultural, and the social value, the beliefs of the people. Are the people believing this? Are the people believing this? Okay, that is why sometimes this is very important to consider. Yes, I know that we are diverse as human beings. We've got different cultures, we've got different traditions, we've got different practices, different beliefs, and all of that. But at the end of the day, usually when considering to build an urban settlement, you want to try and see what the people in the area are doing first before you even attempt to build there. Don't just build, just try to attempt and see what are the people living like? How are the people living like? What are their values? Join in with those people and try to live as one community with them. Because it wouldn't help fellow to say you're gonna build a settlement, you're gonna build in an urban area, and you're not even aligning with those people's cultural beliefs, because you'll end up doing things that are unacceptable in that land, and they're gonna probably punish you or something like that, something that exists. So all of these are factors that you need to look for in the site of an urban settlement. These are the factors that you need to look for or to consider before you even think of building an urban settlement. Is that clear, Gretos?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, so these are the sites. But the first one, guys, try your best to not mention it that much whenever you are answering questions. Mention the soil, mention the rock structure, mention the relief, mention the transport, mention the human factors. If they still want one more, that is when you mention the availability of water. But basically, in urban settlements, you know, as long as the water can be piped or the water can be transported using pipes from other areas, it's not so much of a big deal as there is the availability of water. You can still build in a settlement that doesn't have any water, and you can transport the water to reach that particular area. All right. So with that in mind, we're gonna look at the types of urban settlements that we have.